was you. Got a gun but won't shoot back, son, or shoot first and earn your way off earth. Suicide is a sin and sin is ignorance. Not thinking crittle makes you ignorant. Missing the message. Ego filling your brain with nonsensical thoughts just to drive you insane. On the real, all these dirty Moors know the deal. On the real, all these dirty Moors know the deal. On the real, all these dirty Moors know the deal. When we start the revolution, all they probably do is squeal. Our leaders labeled black, they were assigned to us. As ancients, we flew, we didn't have to ride the bus or drink at their fountain. We didn't even need our own. The gun is a penis and every man is holding a chrome. Thinking it's tough, but when you shoot, you bust. Like vixens holding you in with the camel of clutch. Smoking a Dutch, but taught much against the master. Sellouts would pay karmic debt in the life after. Don't believe me, seek the truth. I hear Hail Hitler when I play back these hip-hop loops. That rap hip-hop, Nas said it's dead. Same gun he raps about, shot J in the head. Cripple a team. These ball players, they cripple a dream. Count the asses that they slap but won't get a bad rap. And rap sheets are written by them. It's police, not following Moors, but niggas booming in their Jeeps. Europeans on the bus, they acting like niggas. Straight off the plantation, looking like J Hill figure. From the foreigner, you'll never get compensated. Disarm a you man saying you strapped, you been miseducated. On the real, all these dirty Moors know the deal. When we start the revolution, all they probably do is squeal. On the real, all these dirty Moors know the deal. When we start the revolution, all they probably do is squeal. On the real, all these dirty Moors know the deal. When the In the name of Allah and Ali, Islam to all, join the MST. You should hear about birthrights and nationality, for you are not Negroes or what you claim to be. In the name of Allah and Ali, Islam to all, join the MST. You should hear about birthrights and nationality, for you are not Negroes or what you claim to be. Learn your foreparents' ancient divine creed. Since 1913 I've been planting the seeds. Enemies planted, agents, I had to leave. I know it was abrupt, but bear with me please. Among the many teaching, man have two selves. These are lower and higher. You want the one that justice breeds. Uplifting the Moors, be yourself is what you need. Ancient forefather didn't salat on their knees, not even under his own vine and fig trees. Fell to slavery for abandoning divine creeds. Denationalized since 1774. Now you hurt others with hands, tongues, and thoughts. Confused at the roads when you see them cross. The object of Moors' life is to unfold of course. Islam doesn't teach we were born in sin. If unlimited capacities can be found within, humanity has been left at the mercy of those who in them have no mercy. If only Allah guides the Moorish movement, the faith in your prophet, please don't lose it. In the name of Allah and Ali, Islam to all, join the MST. You should hear about birthrights and nationality, for you are not Negroes or what you claim to be. In the name of Allah and Ali, Islam to all, join the MST. You should hear about birthrights and nationality, for you are not Negroes or what you claim to be. Coming as he did with a national message, many disrespect and don't get the lessons. Following the speakers, not the words spoken. Connect to the higher powers or wires broken. This is our prophet and there's none left. False prophets point followers to the joys of death. Circle 7 says Jesus but means Ben Yosef. Where you find Allah, we know the heart is closest. To find a real prophet in these days is rare. Most propagate a faith to have the people in fear. Together we stand, divided we fall. Prophet said study the Constitution, cause law is all. Divine and national principle specific. His call to all loyal and faithful Moors is specific. Most made our prophet suffer severely in the past, waving banners with the claims of a national flag. In the name of Allah and Ali, Islam to all, join the MST. You should hear about birthrights and nationality, for you are not Negroes or what you claim to be. In the name of Allah and Ali, Islam to all, join the MST. You You should hear about birthrights and nationality, for you are not Negroes or what you claim to be. If you have race pride and love your race, join the MST and you must make haste. If Europeans help, then why not you? I'm your prophet. Who you think I came here to? Redeem from the slavery state that's mental. Get off your four legs and out the kennel. This field is open to strong men and women, willing and seeking the kingdom of heaven. Lack of sincerity is in the churches. Lack of truth makes all religions worthless. I took a red pill and blue pill to know the ledge. Tree of life ciphers dance in my head like sugar plums. If you're sick, lime and a shot of rum. New wine and old skins will have you wasting some. Tried for many years, they still blind and dumb. Standing on the corner pushing crack and crime and guns. Hanging at high noon, a star called sun, bleaching the sellouts' bones dry, and they asking why. Schemers walk and traders grit all the time. On the high road, I watch them fall for the last time.
Islam wars, peace and love. Canaanland Wars class. Tuesday, Juali honoring. We continue on from our last class, because it's all about Juali getting his, props, getting his stuff right now, because the more paid his dues, so, he has to get his honors. It's real simple as that. He has to get his honors. So we got some more books to go through today. We'll start off though. We'll start off with Moorish literature. Moorish literature. Number 39. Moorish head makes plans for conclave. Beginning October 15th and continuing through the entire week, the Moorish Science Temple of America, of which Mr. Juali is the founder and president, will hold his first general conference at Unity Hall, 3140 Indiana Avenue, Chicago, Illinois. President Ali began definite plans to this end upon recent return from Pine Cliff, Arkansas, where he spent several days lecturing at the local Moorish temple. All the Moors out there, there's no temple there, go talk to Grand Major, whoever's. The organization is playing a useful and definite part in advancing the sacred obligations of American citizenship. Do we have to go through it again? Let's go through it again. Let's just go through it one more time, just so everybody's clear. So, Moors in the Moorish Science Temple of America are going to tell you that you're a citizen of U.S.A. because that's on the back of your nationality card, and Noble Juali gave you the nationality card, so, you're a citizen of U.S.A. Noble Juali said so. Alright. You bump into active Moors, right, who have a little bit more information than the average people who call themselves Moors, that have titles and buildings, carpet inside, wipe your feet when you come in and all that. Right? Now, to prove that point, most of the Moorish Science Temples of America are going to give you Moorish literature with probably 5 articles or something like that. 10 tops. Most of them. Few of them are going to give you up to 39 articles. Now, again, because this is an article, it means it was in the paper. Because it's dealing with the paper, it means that it's the press. Because it's dealing with the press, it means it's the public record. Because it's dealing with the public record, the public knows about this. This is not something that no one knows about. because it was in the press. Noble Drew Ali said American citizenship, not U.S.A. citizenship. Remember, this is in the press. Nationality card is not public record, because trust me, half those Moors with nationality card never showed that to anybody but somebody in the Moor Science Temple. Guaranteed. So that's not public record. And again, if Noble Drew Ali said nationality card is going to change in your pocket, and still singing and praying to Noble Drew Ali 40 years later, clearly there's a problem. And new people, Noble Drew Ali said American citizenship. He never said U.S.A. citizenship. Why? Because there's a big difference between an American citizen and a U.S.A. citizen. Big difference. If there was no difference, Noble Drew Ali would have said U.S.A. citizenship in the public record article that was in the Moorish Guide newspaper. But he said American citizenship. Keep that in mind. Oh yeah, and keep in mind, for all these clowns out here that want to talk about they're president of some USAR BS, Noble Drew Ali's the president. He said so himself in the article, which is a public record, because the press is a public record, so everybody knows who the president of the Moors is. So any dummy who wants to go follow that president like a dummy, when Noble Drew Ali is your president, he's not just prophet only. Noble Drew Ali is your president. This is a government. Stupid people. This is government. This is not come here, sit, pray. What do you mean president? President of what? Religious corporations don't have presidents. Is the Pope? Pope might be the president of the people who are part of the Holy See. Hear them saying that other people are that? You hear somebody else that's Roman Catholic come out and say, yeah, I'm the Pope of the Roman Catholic stuff. You know what I mean? I'm the reincarnated Pope and all that stuff. Talking stupid? Never. What are Negroes who don't study and don't think and just think that what they know is what it is? And then the ones who taught them how to think that's stupid. That there's a guy that's going to say he's the president of something related to Moors. And Moors should go be part of that, and because he's the president. Noble Drew Ali said he's the president. So you're going to go with that president over Noble Drew Ali as your president? You're a damn dirty Moor. Sell out and you stay over there, because we already know who you are, because you raised your hand like a dummy and then you gave a wrong answer in class and everybody laughed at you because you're stupid. So shut the hell up, go study. But no, you want to play follower. So you guys go follow your USAR president, who's a fraud, because there's only one president, Noble Drew Ali. It's right here in the public record stuff that was in the press that went all around the country so everybody knows who the president is. And we have yet to have somebody, legitimately do what Noble Drew Ali did. So anything they do is mute. Especially if they're claiming titles that Noble Drew Ali been claimed in the 1920s. 1920s Noble Drew Ali claimed the title. The guys coming today claim the title, and you're going with this guy that claimed the title, not the foundation. that's where you're supposed to be putting your allegiance? Well, oh yeah, I hear Brother Yusuf's talking about that's high treason. Yes, that's high treason. I heard you more, don't worry. High treason. For all the new people coming in, know that for somebody to say that they're a Moor and say they're a president, but then Noble Drew Ali is the president, and they're not saying that he's the president, they're claiming that they're the president, that's high treason. Indications are that this convention will be one of the most interesting ever held in the city. It will be featured by delegates attending in pilgrimages from 15 different states where local temples have been established. Pilgrimage? Where is he? Mecca? What did he say it's going to be called? Mecca? Why is it going to be Mecca? Because that's where everybody's going to go to come back to the light. And after they go to Mecca, they're going to go back where they came from, and they're going to start telling people, just like certain people who left here, went to Mecca, and then came back here talking different, the exact same thing is going to happen. But no, they didn't want that. You know what I mean? They didn't want that. They wanted to be the man. They wanted to be the supreme whoever's and the grand advisors of some board of advisory people that don't even exist. Want to be presidents and emperors of stuff. And abandon this man who brought them everything that it takes to save themselves. Abandon him. And want to come talk BS about Cujo, who's been repping for Noble Drew Ali harder than all these grand whoever's. You guys don't rep for Noble Drew Ali. Yeah, right. Tell me one food drive that you guys did. Tell me one community cleanup that you did. Tell me one gateway. Tell me one of the 4 quadrants that you had a celebration in honor of one of those quadrants. Tell me. And if you did it, bring the footage. Upload it to YouTube so everybody could see your marvelous works that you supreme whoever's been doing since you've been in office. Please let us know. Show us. Don't just show us you getting your award from the city of whoever because they recognize you, because they've been recognizing certain Moors for generations. So they've been sided with the other side. Why would a city recognize Moors? Not the proclamations. Why would a city call Moors, come on down to City Hall and here's our award? Why would a city, why would a Roman venue do that? This is why. Remember, a lot of these Moors know what Noble Drew Ali did. Right? But they took the position of playing one side. They didn't want the both hemispheres of the brain working in unity. They wanted only half of your brain working. Because with half a brain, you never get where you're going. You'll forever be stunted, which is why we're stunted. Now check what these Moors who are siding with the Roman venue recognize what they know, that they're not really saying out of their mouth. Remember, we already said that Noble Drew Ali is the president, right? We already said Noble Drew Ali is the prophet. Okay? We already know that he's the Supreme Grand Sheikh. He's the first Supreme Grand Sheikh. Why would the Moorish head make plans for a conclave? A meeting behind closed doors. Why would this be not open to anybody? Only specific people. Now look at the reference of conclave. Right? Any dictionary. A private or secret meeting. The place in which the cardinals of the Roman Catholic Church meet in private for the election of a pope. The assembly or meeting of the cardinals of the election of a pope. The body of cardinals, the college of cardinals, an assembly or gathering, especially one that has special authority, power, or influence. And remember, this is public record. So everybody knows that the Moors are going to the conclave. And then keep in mind, the cardinals around Noble Drew Ali were these sellout grand sheiks who started saying that after Noble Drew Ali died, that they're whoever they say that they are. And don't worry about what Noble Drew Ali said, because I'm the whoever now, so this is how it's about. This is how it's going down. If it doesn't want to go down like that, we can do you like Noble Drew Ali. I think more so terrified to leave the temples and all that and to talk up to these people. You think these Moors killed the Prophet. You think these Moors that are dirty in the movement are about your liberation when they helped kill the Prophet? Didn't he say he brought you everything to save a nation? So why don't you just go find all the stuff that he brought you to save a nation and save yourself, because these people aren't going to save you. This is why. You know how many people, maybe about 8 people in the past 2 weeks, because people forget that they play themselves, right? You know, people collect me in the past 2 weeks to tell me about people on Facebook talking BS. That when I was on Facebook, they never talked BS, ever. Because they already know that it's done. Like, we bust the doors open. You know what I mean? Blue fezzes, red fezzes, orange fezzes, it doesn't matter. This is your birthright. Are you listening to these guys? Are you listening to these guys? These guys have no authority of no Moorish anything. They're a fraud. You realize that they know that Noble Drew Ali is the Pope? That's why they're going to the city or whatever? And that's why the city's recognizing them? Not because of them. Because Noble Drew Ali, it's not because of them. They're nobody. Is it not recognizing them? The city's recognizing what Noble Drew Ali laid down. You think anybody respects these dirty Moors who killed their own prophet? They get some exposure, they got 10,000 likes on something, and you think that they're somebody? Have nothing to show for their works? Not even a book to show for their works. These people have been in the seat of power of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Remember, that's the only jurisdiction they got. They don't got nothing else. Look how heavy Moorish Science Temple of America was at this time. How heavy was Moorish Holy Temple of Science then? Who was really part of the Moorish Divine and National Movement of the world? Forget Moorish Science Temple of America only. What about the other parts of it? What about the other parts of it? The Moral Science Temple of America was supposed to be your supreme jurisdiction to exercise your right under religious freedoms. And these people sold that out. And they're trying to convince you that Moors who are out here just putting out info or whatever, wearing t-shirts and hoodies and just being themselves, think that something's wrong with them because they got Black's Law dictionaries and you know why they got that and how come you don't got your Quran on you? Why do you have... Well, you got Quran on us too. We're not absent-minded of what Noble Drew Ali brought. But he said he's universal, so we expand. We don't retract. Why? If the man said that he's universal. And again, this universal concept was encapsulated in Moral Science Temple. And these people took that capsule and didn't give you your medicine. They took the capsule, divvied it up, everybody got their little piece, and everybody plays scatterbrain and they don't know who Noble Drew Ali is and they never heard about him. But everything they're talking is moral science. Straight telling people, yeah, you're not black and you're not Negro and all that stuff. Telling people that in their lecture, in their whatever. And never mention Noble Drew Ali's name. Why wouldn't they mention his name? Right? How could they really say something like, how could they really say something like Moors and not mention Noble Drew Ali? How could they talk about Masons and Illuminati and all that and never mention Noble Drew Ali once? People are playing you. Because the amount of work that he came and did in the time that he did it, we are supposed to be somewhere right now. Why are we not there? Because of people on our side that thought this was only a joke and unreal. People on our side, not some Europeans. Europeans rep this. Europeans rep this. Europeans know about Moors, they know about the history of the Moors, they know stuff about Moors. They just don't tell black people, Negroes or colored African conscious people. They don't talk to them. But trust, Europeans talk to Moors and they spill the beans on what they know. They hurl until it's just air that they're hurling. They start giving up the goods to Moors. They got the hurlers, nothing's coming out. They're just, and Moors just sitting there like, what's wrong with our people? Thank you, European, for verifying. You know what I mean? Thanks for verifying everything that we already know, but you know. Should write a book or something to these Negroes. Tell them, they'll listen to you because you're their God. Just start putting it out. Let them know about Noble Drew Ali and all that. The amount of work that this man did, and we have nothing to show right now, except some videos on YouTube or whatever. And we're not talking about us. We're talking about the people who've been the heads of this for the past 80 years. We're not talking about us. We're not talking about active Moors who didn't know about their birthrights because of these same clowns. You know, we born not knowing about our birthright because of these sellouts. But now that we know about our birthright, now that we know that this is birthright, this is not club right. This is not about Moral Science Temple. This is about we are a nation. If this guy say he's a president, he's a president, and he's a prophet, and he's a pope. Like, what more you need to know that he's the man? Right? What they would call, quote unquote, black pope. Because don't get it twisted when we say pope and you have Benedict in your mind and Pope John Paul in your mind and all that stuff. Don't think that that's their stuff. Who you think brought in all the Kemetic stuff, all the Jewish Hebrew stuff, all the Gnostic stuff into that? So those guys, remember, they'll never tell you about the black popes. If Noble Drew Ali is the last prophet, then he's the last prophet. But then if he calls himself president, that would mean he's the last president. And then if they're going to a conclave, and that has to do with Roman Catholic Church or whatever, then he's also saying he's the last black pope. And then go research the black popes and see how they buried that info about those Moors. That they're so Moors that they called them black, just to get you to disconnect. Because they don't even talk about that. That's history that they should be talking about. But why? Because as soon as you go research it, you find out that they're Moors. You realize somebody's playing games with you, telling you that they're black popes. They're playing games with you, telling you that it was a black guy that saw Jesus and he was one of the three wise men, some black guy. No, he was a magi, which means he was a Moor. He was a priest. He wasn't a priest that you see today. Hi, Sunday morning. Hi, how are you doing? Welcome and all that stuff. You're not them priests there. Forget that priest. That priest is nobody. So you had your Moorish pope. You had your Moorish president. And you had your Moorish prophet. And people that you call your leader made you abandon him for them. And they led you nowhere. They led you to, you have so much different names right now that you don't even know how to find that you're a Moor. You will search and search and search. You'll never find it, because every time you bump into Moor, you're going to turn around and say that's not you. Because some black guy told you that Moors are Arabs and Moors are pale people and Moors are, you know, whatever they say that Moors are, to get you to disconnect from being Moors. And this man had a convention running for a week, had delegates. They had delegates attending the convention as a pilgrimage. What would that mean? That building was, that they were going to, Unity Hall. What would it mean? If you're going to Mecca, on the other side, you see what's going on when the people go to Mecca? Okay, so if Noble Drew Ali says that Chicago's going to be your Mecca, and then 2018, we're getting information about he was having a conclave and all these delegates were coming from 15 different states as a pilgrimage. When they come to this convention, clearly this is bigger than some more Science Temple of America. Right? This is something way beyond what they wanted you to receive as what was going on. Because if, remember, in your mind, you should have what happens over there when they say go to Mecca pilgrimage. Now transfer that here. Remember, we're talking about 1920s. People already know it's either Judaism, Islam, Christianity. Based on the example of quote-unquote slavery in America, many people were like, forget being Christian. And you already know that Jews would have the door locked and say, hey, you guys can't be Jews because we're stealing that for ourselves. You know, you guys go and be something else. We're Khazars, we're Polish, we're whatever, but we're going to say that we're the Jews and steal somebody's birthright because they want to be black Hebrew Israelites. So we'll steal their birthright. Don't say anything. Just call yourself Jew. You knew exactly what they were doing. And all that you have left is Islam. And, you know, the majority of people have a strong will to govern themselves. Hence, I, self-law, and master. Willingly. Without thinking about being a god or whatever like that. It doesn't matter. I'm going to govern myself. Make sure I live according to certain principles, so, you know what I mean? So he went all out, right, at the conclave. There will be an interesting parade in which men and women members will wear regalia similar to that worn in Eastern countries. And then you could go on your little Google, Moorish convention. Just the convention pictures only. Forget the other stuff that might come up with convention, because, you know, certain people are going to come up making their pose and stuff like that, you know, trying to look like they're somebody. They have the black and white picture too. Don't worry about them. Just focus on anything that has multiple Moors black and white picture, right? To see the parade of Eastern countries' regalia that the Moors were wearing at the convention. So you can have in your mind, you know, how it looked, right? A camel will be used. During the sessions, specific reports of the general work and civic accomplishments of local accomplishments will be made. Reports also of the business enterprises that have been established in connection with these temples. Now remember again, where would we be now if these Moors stuck to the program? And in reading this, you know where we should be. So stop yapping and get active. Islam taught the Moors who've been active, doing their best to whatever it is that they feel they need to do to get Moors established in the people's mind, so they know. So when they know, they could be black, whatever. When they see you, Islam, and they know what's up, right? Keep in mind, this is 1920s, right? Where would we be now? And how about, instead of yapping, use this as an example and use whatever you have to make it better for the Moors as a whole, because Noble Drew Ali made it better for the Moors as a whole. He wasn't singular, he was plural. So, and keep in mind the jurisdictions that are also mentioned with regard to, you know, these things on top of temples that were around in the 1920s during this convention. Which would mean that, you know, they've been had these things before the convention. there were things already pre-established. Pre-convention, there were things established for the Moors that the Moors established already. And everything was going to be on display at the convention. The convention was we're going to show all the Moors everything that we got. So you know that it's over. We got this as Moors. That's why I can say, I brought you everything it takes to save a nation. Now take it and save yourself. Because we brought you, everything's done. All you have to do is say you're Moorish American, go out on my word, put the prophet up front, and everything's going to fall into place. You're not even going to have to do anything. They didn't want that. They want you to be where you are now. Fussing with frickin' school boards. Fussing with doctors about accepting exemption and stuff like that because you think your child doesn't need to be vaccinated. Those kill people. And they're telling you, nah. You know what I mean? And then you ask them, did your child get vaccinated? They're like, nah. Well, my child doesn't get the vaccination because we're Jewish or whatever. But you need to get the vaccination and all that. These people don't know what's up. Playing you. Remember, because it's a game. And the game is the wild beast running around that people are picking off and then put the head on their wall. Reports also of the business enterprises, not singular, plural, that have been established, not are being established, not will be established, the enterprises that are established. If they are established, that means they've been around. That's why foot up the ass of these dirty Moors. Hard kicks. Hard kicks. Because they really dropped the ball to have me going through all this BS. When this thing was locked down, for Moors, locked down. Business enterprises established. And not some bitbat enterprise. Online, whatever. Not some willofallah.com or some crap like that. Established enterprise. You want to know why we have nothing as Moors? These clowns. Reports also of the business enterprises that have been established in connection with these temples, such as 2 grocery and market stores in Detroit. What's the addresses of those? What are those now? In 2018, what are those? The 2 grocery stores and the market stores in Detroit that the Moors had, what are those right now? All those so-called Moorish Science Temple of America and all that in Detroit, talking BS. Where's those grocery stores and market stores? We need those addresses to find out what those things are now. Did they get demolished? Did they put up new stuff? Like what's with those addresses? Right? Because Moors are going to go pose up in front of what used to be Unity Hall and all that, take pictures like, yeah, the prophet used to be here, yay, we made it to Unity Hall. Yeah, but it's a whatever it is right now. How come it's not Moorish? How come grass is growing out of the Moorish colony in Virginia? How come? Why is a tree inside the Moorish Science Temple of America in the colony in Virginia that was built for the Moors? How come a tree is the Grand Sheik of that temple? No, you're not going to question why? Oh, alright. Alright. A laundry in Pittsburgh. Think about it today. Remember, Where would that be today? If we had a laundry back then, how many laundries would we have now that were Moorish? A laundry in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and moving and express business. Also, there was a moving business. The moving business. And one of the Moors that they hate the most, Grand Sheikh Nature Al Bay, is still who has the business going on. The moving business, that's Moorish. The trucking business, that's Moorish. And then Brother Supreme, because he's doing his trucking. And then all the other Moors out there that are doing their cargo work. The so-called moving and express business. Now, if you have a moving and express business, and we'll say in 1920s, you have a moving and express business, it's an enterprise, it's been going on. That means people have been supporting it. And if people have been supporting it, then that means that there's trust. What happened to that trust after Noble Drew Ali passed? All these people realized, oh damn, so many dirty Moors in here now. Let me just go over here since the Prophet's not here anymore, and then they say forget this. Take all their investments back. Which, made room for the infiltration of the sellout people. Right? Them getting funding through, state religious benefits or whatever. Getting their carpet, whatever, getting to go to the office of the whoever, set up, this and set up that and set up things, and Moors looking like, oh, we got some stuff going on, whatever, but they're not concerned about the fisheries and the cookie factories and the moving express business and the laundromats, and they're not wondering what happened to those? How you not wondering what happened to you just used to go to the Moorish laundromat, Noble Drew Ali died, and now you're going to somebody else's laundromat? You never question where's the laundromat? And you stayed there under those people running that fraud? Crazy. Crazy. These examples of collective effort show that the members of the Moorish Science Temple and their leaders have a sound economic program and are blazing the trail and marking the pathway over which our posterity, you, may travel unhampered and unafraid. So how come there's so much afraid Moors and so much hampered Moors? Clearly these people stopped blazing the trail. Clearly they stopped marking the pathway over which we were supposed to. So 1920s, there's a blazing trail. Can't miss it. '75 come out the womb and grass everywhere. High grass. Where's the path? The path is over there. What do you mean over there? Over there where? Through the grass. How long you been on this side of the grass? We just never went down the path. What do you mean? You have the stuff laid out right here what you're supposed to do or whatever. You start on this side and then you go that way with the lawnmower. How come you didn't keep the stuff maintained? How come there's grass everywhere? How come the hedges aren't trimmed? How come all we're seeing is fruits and vegetables going to waste because nobody's been in this field to pick anything? Oh, but we're supposed to honor you because you claim that you're supreme, grand, whoever. And you have this building today called Morris Science Temple of America. And people could go there and proclaim their nationality and find out about their nationality and birthrights. But they have no community center to go to. They're still going to YMCA or whatever. They're still going to dollar for less workout gym. Because Moors don't have their own stuff. And we're supposed to honor these people. This is the people's birthright for them to get their act together. Do for self so that your posterity, would have a blazing trail to follow. To know where they shouldn't go. What they shouldn't be involved with. To have themselves going in a direction that is actually going somewhere. Again, Moore said, they blaze the trail which we, the posterity, may travel unhampered and unafraid. How many Moors that's been Moors are not active because they're afraid? They want to be active, but they can't because, they just got to read this Quran, you know what I mean? Because Quran says that, humble man is... Not many people, not many Moors who are active, are constantly hampered. They're not supposed to be hampered. They're not supposed to have to deal with any issues with foreigners because we're Moors. You know who we are. What do you mean you don't know who we are? It comes back. To these sellouts. Even Noble Drawley talked about it. Those on our side of the nation that claim it was only a joke and unreal. Why? Just look at their actions with it. Their actions with it alone lets you know that they think this is some BS. Because there's no way that they can have been brought into this movement or whatever, have this information that there were all these accomplishments under the banner of Morris Science Temple of America in the 1920s, and there's nothing from then that exists today other than Morris Science Temple. If you don't think there's a problem with that, maybe you're zombified and there's no need even talking to you. It must be kept in mind that no great movement can take definite shape in 2 or 3 years, so as to be error-proof, says President Ali. However, through accumulating experience, each annual convention ought to witness a more perfect, a wider functioning organization representing the organized experience of men and women, members throughout the country and possibly in time the world over. And continuing, President Ali said, constructive criticism from sympathetic friends in and outside of our ranks is welcome. So if a sympathetic friend that sees this and says, you know what, I think I can offer something to these Moors, and he's sympathetic to the cause of the Moors and wants to assist, it would be wrong to turn that individual away, because, you know, Noble Drew Ali said that constructive criticism from people on the inside or the outside is always welcome. How come they don't let active Moors give them constructive criticism? Right? Stop playing BS with people's birthright and playing this is like some religious whatever. This is divine, not religious. Oh yeah, I know religious is mentioned. I know religion is mentioned. But this is divine, not religious. But it is national. It is national. You can't, you know, switch national with anything. So they just omit it. And then they make divine religious. Right? When it's really the religion of Islamism, they dogmatized it and made it not itself law and master in science and math. Because the ISM in Islamism also means something. But if they go there, then you'll know you don't need them. Because you would have the Silent Brotherhood to tell you that the priesthood is dead and you are your own priest. But, you know, to be your own priest takes responsibility, so don't think you could just, oh yeah, I'm Grand Sheik whoever, and I started the Moor Science Temple of America yesterday, and now you gotta come down to my, no. That was a good try though, but no, it doesn't work like that. Because that just makes you a fraud, charlatan, whatever. That doesn't mean you're a priest. See, the power of the priest comes from the exercising of his will, which is stimulated by the holy breath. Because you would have to be in contact with yourself, your true self, your higher self, in order to understand what the will is and what your position is as far as being a Moor and what you're supposed to put into this. Drew Ali already did what he's going to do. He already made his stamp. Right? He already made his stamp. Because what else is he going to do? How else is it going to go down if he didn't do it? How else is it going to go down? If he didn't take it on himself to do it, would it have gotten done? Probably not. We would be Negro, black, colored. We would be worse than what we are right now. I think we're bad right now. So it's a beautiful time because we know about our prophet and it's his solar return. And because it's his solar return, you know, because you know the solar return goes all week, right? So his solar returns for 7 days, right? And circle 7, Quran, and then, you know, why would the prophet's birthday be for 7 days? Why is Noble Drew Ali week? Because he has to utilize the 7. And then that's why he said that is your Christmas. Because, you know, it's the 2 and 5 is 7. So to be in harmony with the stuff, first day of the 7-day parade for the Moors in honor of Noble Drew Ali. Because all the stuff that he did, he deserves some honors. He did too much not to get honored. And the fact that people don't honor him lets you know people on our side of the nation that think it's a joke and unreal. That's why they don't want to be Moors, because they think it's a joke and unreal. They're going to come on the chat talking about KFC bucket hats and stuff like Moors concerned about these people. We don't. Active Moors are thick skinned. So, we can take a lot. Not worried about you people. All the naysayers and the trolls and these people, not worried about y'all. Because we already know that the trail has been blazed. We know where the path is. We know exactly where the path is. They hate this one. They hate this one. Because it tells you everything. They so hate this one. Go to rvbaypublications.com. But they hate this one. You know why they hate this one? Because it tells all their stuff. They're playing around with you. Have you thinking that Moors weren't studying chematology in Noble Drew Ali's time? It wasn't just Eye of Allah only. It wasn't Eye of Allah only. Like this is, see what that is there? Adept chamber. This is the adept badge of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science. This is how you know you were dealing with adepts. But they want you to think that this is just, nope. This is so broad that you would want to go. Islam to Brother Mario L. Bay. Islam to Brother Mario, who's trying to get himself, in the sharky waters. Start putting out some lives on these people. Why? Because exercising the will, knows exactly what his position is, what his purpose is, right? And exercising that will, just because, why not? So administrative functions. This is why they hate active Moors. Okay? Because so much of what our people are suffering from today can be cured by what the Moors are presenting. But the teachers of the Know Thyself community, let's say majority of the teachers of the Know Thyself community, have taken the position of not telling our people about Moors, but telling them about everything else. Telling them about everybody else. When they do bring up Moors, they give you a capful. Just enough to keep you not interested. There's there's a level of disservice done by these people who say that they honor Noble Drew Ali, to the point where, you know, they want to make sure that confusion is maintained. So to make sure that confusion is maintained, they always have to create the alter ego. They always have to create the, you know, hero villain. Somebody's good, somebody's whatever. No, we know who Dirty Moors are since Noble Drew Ali's time. Like, we aren't just calling these people Dirty Moors today because today we realize they did something. These are the successors of the people who took out Noble Drew Ali, which is why we talk about them how we talk about them. You think they don't know what they did? They know exactly what it is that they did, which is again why they continue to play this, put the national stuff over there. This is religious, you know what I mean? And you have to look your best and wear your suit and come and, you know, pray to Noble Drew Ali and sing hymns to Noble Drew Ali and have no political activity whatsoever. Just be another member of some organization. That's not what Noble Drew Ali wanted from Moors. You are supposed to function like an administration. You're supposed to function like this is a government. Noble Drew Ali is the Pope. You're supposed to function like this is government. Noble Drew Ali said that he's the president. If he's the president of this, if he's the head of this, which he also said that he's the head. If he's the head, if he's the prophet, if he's all these titles, that all these other people out here have these titles and they're parading around, don't you think that they're following what he did? Don't you think everything that they're doing is a reflection from a lower vibration of what he did? Ain't no different than the Illuminati. And then everybody shows a pyramid with an eye on it. They never said that that's their stuff. Where they say that that's their stuff? They never said that that's theirs. How you figure that that's theirs? Well, they show it when they do the clearly don't study. Shut the hell up. This is bigger than anything. Any organization, any religious association, any whatever that anybody came and said that they're doing for our people, this is bigger than anybody's thing. And the fact that you don't know in 2018 about what it is really that Noble Drew Ali brought, all these people who you call your leader that taught you something, if they never taught you about Noble Drew Ali, they did you a disservice. You need to go check them people. Like, yo, how come you know so much stuff and you never told me about Noble Drew Ali? Why? Why didn't you bring him up? You got books and all that stuff. Never brought this man up, ever? Why? Because everything that one of these so-called black whoever's are saying they're trying to do, Noble Drew Ali did it already. Did it on the grandest scale. Everything that any of these people are claiming, I got GoFundMe, send me money so we can do whatever. Noble Drew Ali already did all that stuff. Don't you just get down with what's already established for us to do? Which again, like we were talking about, first thing, change your mindset. Because your mindset is going to make your status change. And then your status change is going to make your conditions change. And the changing of your conditions is you being liberated and starting to do for yourself, like all the other civilized people on the planet. And Moors, you know what I mean? I know it's hard because, you know, it's a grand task and we think about, you know, well, we're Moors, we got this, so we'll just go do this and, you know, forget those people and all that. Yeah, but they're Moors too. They're just not conscious that they're Moors. And to try to convince unconscious Moors that they're Moors, when all you have to do is move unconscious, and they're so bombarded with all the other labels that Moor is the last thing that they're gonna find out that they are. Which is why it's imperative for Moors to be active, not passive. You can't be passive and say you're a Moor. It just doesn't work like that. Sorry. So the purpose of the administrative functions is to address the functionality of the Moorish movement and the concepts that people should have if they are going through Noble Drew Ali's literature or speaking with Moors or dealing with, you know, individuals that have certain titles or whatever. This is all so that you can know what is expected, even for people who are in it right now. Because people who are in it should even know this. So if you're in Moorish Science Temple of America and your perspective is not where we're about to read, then you probably need to go get administrative functions, whether you're inside the temple, whether you support the website or not, could care less. The book Administrative Functions, if you're inside of the temple, you should probably have a copy of that because it's important that you have a right perspective. Because the people who you've been thinking are your brother are really not, they're really on some brotherhood. They're on some keep you sleep. They're on some keep you deaf, dumb, and blind. Keep you thinking that it's not what it is. Page 29. Because the text of administrative functions are mostly related to civics and the administration of government, many of the chosen statements and writings of Prophet Noble Drew Ali will reflect the political and social aspects of the nation. Civics are inherently a part of the Moorish divine and national movement, particularly since the redemption of the Moors of northwest Amexem is not only spiritual, but primarily political, economic, and geographical, etc., inclusive of corporeal and incorporeal inheritances, a vast estate. These statements and writings are placed herein for serious analytical considerations. This is due to the fact that the newly awakened Moors cannot reasonably exercise government in harmonious and stable order if they are not introduced to the fundamental structure and constitutional principles that undergird organized, moral, and ethical government. For those among us who are active and not passive, it would be wise to take these oral statements and writings seriously. With the foresight embodied therein, we can apply them to the social, economic, and political issues faced by Moorish Americans in their day-to-day affairs with other nations, nationalities, and jurisdictions, and the government in which they live. Logistically and intellectually, these statements and writings also give grounds for preconsiderations in the administration of government, giving weight to other areas of social affairs and political subject matters. Their national and organizational exposure and dispensation commands a clarification of status and jurisdiction, foreign and domestic. For further rationale, clarification, and affirmations, review the 1st and 7th paragraphs of Divine Warning by the Prophet for the Nation. So, Divine Warning. Divine Warning by the Prophet for Nations, 1st and 7th paragraphs. First paragraph. The citizens of all free national governments, according to the national constitution, are all of one family bearing one free national name. Those who fail to recognize the free national name of their constitutional government are classed as undesirables and are subject to all inferior names and abuses and mistreatments that the citizens care to bestow upon them. And it is a sin for any group of people to violate the national constitutional laws of a free national government and cling to the names and the principles that delude to slavery. Their national and organizational exposure and dispensation commands a clarification of status and jurisdiction, foreign and domestic. So the writings of Noble Drew Ali are geared towards the individual who's reading them to have a clear idea of status and jurisdiction. This is how it was set forth by Noble Drew Ali. The writings themselves were addressing these subject matters, which once you understand these subject matters, you can at least start taking your place amongst the affairs of men. It's not going to be mastered yet, but what you get gives you one up on the other guy. Because the secret is that we weren't supposed to know anything like this. It wasn't supposed to be even a thought for us to want to read. More so, read relative to status and jurisdiction and our nationality and our birthrights. Again, so the citizens of all free national governments. Free national government, that's jurisdiction. Right? According to their national constitution, right, again, jurisdiction, are all of one family bearing one free national name, status. Those who fail to recognize the free national name of their constitutional government, status and jurisdiction, are classed as undesirables, status, and are subject to all inferior names, status, and abuses, status and jurisdiction, and mistreatments, status and jurisdiction, that the citizens, status, care to bestow upon them. And it is a sin, jurisdiction, because man is mind. And sin is missing the mark. Sin is not having all your stuff together. It is a sin for any group of people to violate the national constitutional laws, jurisdiction, of a free national government, jurisdiction, and cling to the names, right, and the principles that delude to slavery. So if you cling to the names and principles that delude to slavery, you are implying that you are in a dead status. Because the names that you're using are attached to slavery. Why would you use those names? For all these Kemetic people. You know the Egyptians were slaves and stuff like that. They're slave masters. You know Pharaoh. You know how Pharaoh used to do. Cling to that name. Well, the Moors were slaves. Yeah, but the Moors were also enslaved. So, you know, the karma balances out. And we're talking about free national names, not just national names. So Egyptian's a national name. It might not be free. Right? Just like people on the continent call themselves one of the carved out parts instead of the actual name, and then they fall under the jurisdiction of some Europeans doing whatever to them. And then they're mad about it because you shouldn't be doing that because I'm whoever they say they are, but they're really, that's not who they are. Status and jurisdiction. Right? 7th paragraph. And I, the prophet, do hereby And I, the prophet, do herein believe that this administration of the government, being more wisely prepared by more genius citizens that believe in their free national constitution and laws, and through the help of such classes of citizens, I, the prophet, truly believe that my people will find the true and divine way of their forefathers and learn to stop serving carnal customs and merely ideas of man that have never done them any good, but have always harmed them. I, the prophet, truly believe, right? Truly, right? Say trust again, right? Truth, one of the principles, right? He truly believes that my people will find the true and divine way. He really believes that you're going to find your way. As much as you doubt, as much as you want to be black, Negro, colored, African, whoever like that, and you doubt the prophet, and you think it's only a joke and unreal, he still has faith that eventually you're gonna come back around, just because, you know, you're gonna have no choice. Because the ones who are, you know, for quote unquote the annihilation of our people, they're beginning to realize more and more that it's harder and harder to eliminate the original. You're never ever going to get rid of the original. All you can do is distort their perspectives for generations. The longer their perspective is distorted, the longer these people are here, doing whatever it is that they're doing. And Nobujuali came and pulled up their skirt and raised them up, got them to really yield to our jurisdiction. And it's based on everything that he himself had laid down. So we have him talking about national constitution. Why people telling people about divine constitution and bylaws and that's it only? Why is it that they're stuck there? How come they're not going into the national constitution? Oh, because remember, they put the national all the way over here. stretch to get to the national stuff. But the dogmatized stuff, oh yeah, they'll feed you that all day, every day. They'll be memorizing verses of the Quran and all that. Say, whoo, he knows his Quran. Jeez. What about Constitution? You know anything about that? Well, we don't really deal with that because, Noble Drew Ali said that. Oh yeah, Noble Drew Ali said, huh? Oh yeah? Noble Drew Ali said, you're really going to say the S word. After all the BS that you've been playing with these people. With their own stuff. Playing with the people. Alright, so since we're talking about status, again, another, the Moors that they love to hate. This is Abdullah El Talib Mozi Bey and Moors Order of the Round Table. The Moors rise from civil death. Chapter 4. Political status. Political status has been a topic that has been vaguely addressed in the study of jurisprudence. Yet, it is the first issue at law and must be addressed or considered nationally and internationally. We have scholars of jurisprudence that have not addressed the profound importance that political status plays in national and international law. Why have they not addressed the corporate status of the Moors, now labeled black, Negro, colored, Afro, etc., and the legal significance these slave brands have in national and international law? A careful examination of political status will give the Moors who bear these brand names the understanding of the importance of nationality and the danger at law of using the chattel brands as identities. For all the people that think this is a joke and unreal. Political status is the categorization of citizenship, non-citizenship, social position or rank in a society with direct effect in relationship to rights, immunities, and privileges. It is the first issue at law that must be addressed or considered nationally and internationally. The following categories determine the status of the people/person and what laws apply in a society. Status categories. 1. You might want to take some notes. Status categories. 1. Nobility, sovereign, free white people. 2. Foreign national. 3. Foreign subject. 4. Resident alien. 5. Non-resident alien. 6. 14th Amendment artificial person. 1. Nobility, sovereign, free white people. 2. Foreign national. 3. Foreign subject. 4. Resident alien. 5. Non-resident alien. 6. 14th Amendment artificial person. 1. A. Nobility. Moors are the nobles of North, South, and Central America, Al-Morocco, and the adjoining islands, by hereditary birthright. This type of caste system, which is based on hereditary birthright, was developed by the Moors. The Europeans changed this caste system to a class system, which is based on wealth and hidden in codes, black and white implying colors, when they conquered the Moors, thus destroying the hereditary nobility. Ali, El Bey, Al, and Dey are the Moorish noble titles to the lands, North, Central, and South America. These titles of nobility are the only lawful titles to the land. They are the titles of honor and nobility that are referred to in the Constitution of the United States of America, that their contracted citizens, the English male, cannot claim and remain a citizen of the United States of America. Going back to the whole Moorish subject. And the Europeans who realize what's up, and instead of saying they're some sovereign citizen, free man on the land BS, they affiliate with Moors. They recognize the Moorish Empire. They recognize the birthrights of the Moors. And they acknowledge their complete and full support of it to other Europeans who's trying to, put the bag over their head and kidnap them. Right? If so, they would be in violation of law and no longer would remain a contracted citizen of the United States of America. The original Article 13 that the social engineers now exclude from the common civic literature for the masses states this point of law. B. Sovereigns, we the people. Moors are the sovereign body that is referred to as we the people in the preamble of the Constitution of the United States of America. Moors are the true citizens of the Great Seal Continental United States. This is the United States that is referred to in the preamble of the Constitution of the United States of America. We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Sovereigns have the supreme political authority. We the nobles are the indigenous peoples to the land. Moors have all the benefits and rights to the land. Moors have absolute authority and rulership over the land in accord with nature. The absolute authority and right to the land is gained through inheritance, genetics, and pedigree. This absolute authority and right cannot be bought or sold. It is only gained and maintained through hereditary, birth line, and pedigree. Free white people. The Moors are the true free white people of the Americas, Almarocs, through hereditary, genetic, birth line, and bloodline. Free white people does not mean Caucasian race. Free white people does not mean Aryan race. Free white people refers to the indigenous true nobles of the lands, North, Central, and South America, Almaroc. The Moors are the free white people of North, Central, and South America and the adjoining islands. Foreign national. Foreign nationals are citizens of a foreign nation. They are non-residents of the foreign nation they visit. They often do not plan to reside in the states but only visit as in a vacation stay. They do not apply for residency in the states, nor do they surrender their birthrights and sovereignty by applying for naturalization. Remember, foreign national. Nor do they surrender their birthrights and sovereignty by applying for naturalization. Think about all these people telling you to naturalize that look like you, that have turbans and fezzes on. Right? These people telling you to naturalize know that by you naturalizing or applying for naturalization, you surrender your birthrights. And then again, because of that status, now you're under the jurisdiction of whoever did that process on you. Because you sold yourself to be their subject, when you could say, I don't know who I am, and be a Moorish subject of the Moroccan Empire. But you don't want that. You want false priests. You want to deal with the false priests. right? You want to deal with the false priests. And you cannot deal with the false priests because they're false. Duh. Even though we got all week, but there's that. Brother Heru Ranasi L. Heru Ranasi L. He is on Facebook, I believe. Heru Ranasi L. And these are more out in Atlanta. And this is his book. This is Your Land. This is the old book. There's a new one with, I think it has a different cover. This must be clearly observed. In the Moorish mode of government, which is a theocratic constitutional monarchy, whereby power is vested in a monarch, i.e., National Grand Sheikh. The National Grand Sheikh post is equivalent to that of Sultan, the ancient title of our ruler in what our ancestors referred to as Morocco, pre-Berlin Conference, 15th of November 1884, that redrew property lines and divided Africa amongst Europeans. The Moors of the West First Sultan, or supreme executive ruler, was known in propria persona, in his proper person, as Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali, more commonly known as Noble Drew Ali. The Moorish government exists as a constitutional monarchy, absolute rule vested in a monarch, National Grand Sheikh / Sultan, yet checked by a legislative body of 7 Grand Sheikhs tried and true. These 7 must be tried, never denied, and willing to be tried again. The Moorish government is not a secular government. It is a theocracy based on Moorish science, not religion. The higher moral principles of the cosmos, known in cipher as the Father of the Universe, Allah, manifested as the science of 0 to 9, geometry, and sacred aspects of woman, astrology, etc., is the sovereign of all sovereigns in Northwest Amexem, Al-Marak, Moorish America, i.e. the Moorish government. The monarch must speak the will of the people, because the citizens of Moorish America are all nobles and of royal birth. There are to be no paupers, slaves, serfs, vagabonds, or beggars in Moorish America, as these are descriptive terms deleting to the Negro mentality. Since all citizens of Moorish America, indigenous inhabitants of North, Central, and South America, plus all adjoining islands, are a noble and upright caste, the leadership within the said nation must reflect the same nobility when representing Al-Marak to the other free nations of the world. The false image of Moorish Americans must be changed and the Negro African American image destroyed. The Moorish cherry red fez, with an unbound, free-flowing 12-inch black tassel, is the Moorish international headdress of diplomacy. It has been worn by Moorish nobles since the white crown of Osiris of ancient Egypt to the golden fez of Nebuchadnezzar, to the golden fez of the Canaanite god El, who sometimes wore two ostrich plumes in it, like Osiris of Egypt, to the fezzes worn by the Olmec diplomats in central Amexem, Almarac, Mexico, as opposed to the warrior class of Olmecs who wore helmets. The fez has a long history amongst Moorish nobles and is still the national headdress of the Moors. The national seal of the Moors is the Great Seal with a capped pyramid, which symbolizes the completed temple. The pyramid with the capstone connected with Allah's eye inside symbolizes all lights working in harmony within the original temple, the human body, and the two eyes have fused into one, the first eye, often mistaken for the third eye. Above the Moorish Great Seal are the words Ab Antiquio, meaning from antiquity, and the word Islam broken up into an acronym ISLAM, meaning I, self, law, am master. This concept equates the Moorish noble with the concept of I am, the original monad, reflection of Allah in the earth because man and Allah are one. The flag of the Moorish nation is the Moroccan red flag with the equilateral green pentalpha or 5-point star. Each angle on the star is 72 degrees, making a total of 360 degrees. The green pentalpha is also called Solomon's shield and is used in the mysteries to invoke energies. The red of the flag represents the bloodshed of the Moorish nobles who fought to keep the empire together. By way of this fact, red denotes sovereignty because ultimately, to defend one's sovereignty, many times it takes the shedding of blood, only in defense, never of innocence and as a mode of last resort. The last of the 5 Moorish principles is justice, but there are 4 preceding diplomatic principles as well. The 5 Moorish principles are love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. These are the 5 points of the Moorish flag. These principles are what the Moors, the torchbearers of civilization, have used many a time to bring civilization out of the dark. The green of the pentalpha represents vitality, resurrection, and healing. The red of the flag also represents the first of the 3 aspects of any god. These are creation, red, preservation, white, and destruction, black. The land of the Moorish nation of northwestern Almarac is that which considered North America. This land covers an area of 9,450,000 square miles. We also can state our claim to inheritance to our other dominions, which include South America, Central America, and the adjoining islands. All the natural resources of these lands, streams, lakes, ponds, mountains, burial grounds, temples, mounds, indigenous monuments, artifacts, forests, livestock, etc., are rightful property of all indigenous Moorish American nationals, regardless of clan or tribe, who may have their own local laws or customs. Moorish Holy Quran, chapter 47, verse 14. We are the original manifestation of many nations out of one, e pluribus unum. The standard race of indigenous inhabitants of this region is Asiatic. Due to the earlier classification of Amexem as Pan-Asia, then later Asia, all who were across this landmass before it was separated were called Asiatics. Their skin complexion is olive, whether dark or light. Their hair is wavy to woolly. There are many variations, but we are one people. According to the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights from the Organization of American States, Proposed Declaration on Rights of Indigenous People, February 1997, Article 7, we find human rights instruments and other advances in international law, recognizing the paramountcy and applicability to the states and peoples of the Americas of the American Declaration of the Rights and Duties of Man, the American Convention on Human Rights, and other human rights instruments of inter-American and international law, and recognizing that indigenous people are a subject of international law, and mindful of the progress achieved by the states and indigenous organizations, especially in the sphere of United Nations and International Labor Organization, in several international instruments, particularly in the ILO Convention 1969, affirming the principle of the universality and the indivisibility of human rights and the application of international human rights to all individuals. Note, subjects in reference to Moors, Moorish Americans, would better be classified as natural-born subjects, meaning a person born within the dominion of a monarchy. Said monarchy would be the dominions of the Moorish Empire governed by our theocratic constitutional monarchy. Relative to the quote from the proposed Declaration on Rights of Indigenous People, we see that indigenous people are subjects, more properly natural-born subjects of international law. International law is relative to the law of nations, making one a part of the family of nations. However, being a member of the family of nations, having international law protecting one's rights is not given freely to everyone. There are qualifications. And again, this is Brother Heru Ranisiel. This land is your land. Many of us were disappointed in our elders because we wanted to be from Africa so badly. We are not stating this to infer that if you go back far enough that none of us are from Africa. This couldn't be further from the truth. Moorish Americans, through our supreme executive ruler, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, were the first in the Americas to reveal to the unconscious Moors that all the continents were once joined as the great empire of Amexem, which is inclusive of Africa. James Brown, who made his transition to the ethers of our forefathers at the time of this writing, December 25, 2006, and whose energy we call upon, wrote a song called Living in America. For a long time, the author thought that James Brown had sold out by writing this song. However, emotions put aside, when one takes a look at the lyrics, the brother was demonstrating the realization occurs that he was speaking of indigenous birthrights. Let's take a brief look. Living in America. Superhighways coast to coast. Easy taking anywhere. On the transcontinental overload. Just slide behind the wheel. How does it feel when there's no destination too far? And somewhere on the way, you might find out who you are. Mr. Brown was saying that while driving from coast to coast traveling in America. Somewhere along the way, you might find out who you are. Let's look a little further. I live in America, I live in America. Wait a minute. You may not be looking for the promised land, but you might find it anyway, under one of those old familiar names, like New Orleans, Detroit City, Dallas, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, New York City, Kansas City, Atlanta, Chicago, LA. The brother said, you may not be looking for the promised land, but you might find it anyway, under one of those old familiar names, like, why would America be seen as a promised land? Why would he call city names like Detroit, Kansas, Atlanta old, familiar names? Is it because these were cities started by your forefathers who were domiciled on these shores before there was even a continent called Europe? Again, Moors, we are not saying that we have no connections with Africa. Quote unquote, big quotes. Again, Moors, we are not saying that we have no connections with Africa. The Moorish Empire was inclusive of Africa. And at two times in our history in Africa, the power of the empire was centralized in two main points, Egypt and Morocco, which regarding Morocco, prior to the 1884 Berlin Conference, Morocco was inclusive of the country we now refer to as Mauritania. The Emperor of Morocco, who was involved in the 1787 Treaty of Peace and Friendship, His Majesty Sultan Sidi Mohammed bin Abd Abdullah of the Sharifen line, Alawite, resided in Morocco, northwest Africa. However, the dominion of his territories are more properly the territories which the Moorish regents exercised absolute ownership, extended from Africa to North, Central, and South America, as well as the adjoining islands. Right? So, Brother Heru Ranisi L, try to get a hold of them. They got Facebook or Instagram or something. Heru Ranisi L. Heru Ranisi L. Look him up. Get some knowledge. Lastly for today, First World Order by the good brother Alim El Bey. Islam's the mother Qadira El Bey. Page 197. Nabi Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the royal regent of the Empire Washita de Duc de Mont d'Amours, and the fifth Marquis de Maison Rouge, was the founder of the Old Canaanite Temple, the Holy Moabite Temple of Science of the world, the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, the Moorish Divine and National Movement of the world. During the same year, 1916, the so-called Jewish people established the Zionist movement. The Moorish Temple of Science, the Moorish Science Temple of America. Note, in 1929, just a year later, the Vatican followed suit and formed a papal state, being incorporated in Rome, Italy. Noble Drew Ali was a family member of the Tunica tribe. Prophet Noble Drew Ali's mother's maiden name was Turner. Her name was Eliza Turner. Before 1910, Timothy Drew, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, Nabi Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali, was a member of the Moorish Zionist Temple in Brooklyn, New York, founded and established in 1899 by Leon Richelieu. Moorish Zionist Temple, hence the origin of the name Moorish Science Temple of America. Phonetically, Zion sounds close to the word science. Prophet Noble Drew Ali in 1913 moved to Newark, New Jersey and formed the Canaanite Temple. 1913 happened to be the same year that the Federal Reserve Bank, the Internal Revenue Service, and the Birth Certificate Department were all formed. These are not mere coincidence. Note, co means two. These are more than two incidences. All Moorish groups are part of the Moorish Divine and National Movement. Therefore, we of the United Washita de Duc de Mont d'Amours do not debate on who is the rightful successor. There is no proof of anyone. It is all mere opinions and speculations. whether it's Edward Mealy Ill, John Givens L., Charles Kirkman Bay, David Ford L., the Dingle L. brothers, or etc. It does not matter. We are all Moors, birthright and nationality, blood heritage lineage, not by colorable law, organizations, societies, or tribal affiliation. Note, it is stated in the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, Moorish Science Temple of America 101 teachings that Prophet Noble Drew Ali was raised up on a Cherokee reservation in the state of North Carolina. The Kohari, remnants of the Cherokees, Tuscaroras, Newsiok Indians that were not moved during the Trail of Tears. Their reservation is located near the city of Clinton in the county of Sampson in the state of North Carolina. Eliza Turner and John Drew Whitman played an important role in our heritage. They were part of the landmark court case of free women and men, also referred to in law as free white persons, who won back 68,883 acres of land in the Louisiana court case, United States versus the heirs of Henry Turner, Tunica, case 32, United States Appellate Court, in 1850, was an appeal to an earlier case won by the heirs of Henry Turner, called the heirs of Henry Turner, Tunica, versus the United States, case 191 in 1848. So United States versus the heirs of Henry Turner, Tunica, case 32, 1850, and the heirs of Henry Turner versus the United States, case 191 in 1848. Tell me they don't know who the Moors are? Damn. They don't know who the Moors are, huh? Just like they know who the Moors are, we know who the Khazars are. We just want to close out with some Khazar, another Khazar. The 13th tribe. Page 125. Two basic facts emerge from our survey: the disappearance of the Khazar nation from its historic habitat and the simultaneous appearance in adjacent regions in the northwest of the greatest concentration of Jews since the beginnings of the diaspora. Since the two are obviously connected, historians agree that immigration from Khazaria must have contributed to the growth of Polish Jewry, a conclusion supported by the evidence cited in the previous chapters. But they feel less certain about the extent of this contribution, the size of the Khazar immigration, compared with the influx of Western Jews and their respective share in the genetic makeup of modern Jewish community. In other words, the fact that Khazars emigrated in substantial numbers into Poland is established beyond dispute. The question is whether they provided the bulk of the new settlement or only its hardcore, as it were. To find the answer to this question, we must get some idea of the size of the immigration of the real Jews from the West. Toward the end of the first millennium, the most important settlements of Western European Jews were France and the Rhineland. Not counting the Jews of Spain, who formed a category apart and did not participate in the migratory movements with which we are concerned. Why? Because those Jews that were in Spain with the Moors weren't some hook-nosed whatevers. Because we know that everybody knows that they were Moors, because Jew wouldn't be their identity. That would be their religion. But that's how they play the game. Because if they said the Moors got expelled from Spain without saying Jews, now there's no historical reference point for these fake Khazars to try to steal your birthright as you call yourself a Hebrew Israelite, like a dumbass. And they're over here, they're not in Israel, they're over here exercising your birthright. But you want to be Hebrew Israelites. So, forget some Moses and all that stuff, Abraham and all that. Forget all that. Noble Drew Ali is the prophet. Peace and love to all the Moors worldwide. Don't forget, Blog Talk Radio tonight. MHHS, Eyes Wide Open, Blog Talk Radio. Continuing on with the honors to the noble, illustrious prophet, Drew Ali. The call-in number, make sure you call in before 9:20. Make sure you call in before 9:20, because if you don't call in before 9:20, you might not get in. 425-569-5201. 425-569-5201, 347-945-5899. 347-945-5899. Islam to all the Moors, peace and love. We'll be continuing on. Not sure about tomorrow, what time or whatever. But if not tomorrow, then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and of course Sunday, we'll be back at the temple for class on Sunday. And there's a website in the works that's going to be dealing with Moorish history or historical artifacts, etc. I don't have the card there. It's consciousness transitions. So just hold on, but they were at the temple. Actually, when you go watch the Drew Ali Day trailer, their table got a shot, and you saw, figurines and all that type of stuff, lamps and whatever. So they're going hard on uprooting Moorish culture and artifacts so that Moors could get hold of these stuff and preserve them again as ours. Right? So be on the lookout for that. And don't forget, in the spirit of is available. You can make your 50-note donation to culturaleducators@gmail.com. culturaleducators@gmail.com. Please include your mail-in location so we can send you hard copy. Right? There's going to be no download of this one. It's just going to be hard copy. All right. Peace and love to all the Moors. Thanks for your attendance today. I will that your day 2 of Noble Drew Ali week was prosperous for you. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Islam Moors, peace and love, and we'll be together again in about 20 minutes.